Okay. Well, welcome, Carl, and thank you so much for coming on today to share your story. I think it's going to be a fantastic way to showcase what West Sussex is already doing to use an outcomes-based approach to using performance. So very much appreciate you coming on. I'm going to start with a really open question, Carl, and just say, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role in West Sussex and your first encounter with an outcome-based approach?
Okay, my role is I'm the Principal Manager for Young People's Service. So we deal with young people in transition to adulthood. And there are a number of arms to the service: youth offending, intensive support, care leavers, etc. So basically a young person transitioning to adulthood in their teenage years is down to us to support and enable that transition to be as positive as possible. My background is youth work. I'm a youth worker by trade, and I've just kept going, got into management and just again kept going. So previously to this, I was head of Portsmouth Youth Service. Did a whole transformation programme over 5 years with that service, taking it from critical failings to achieving a pass in Ofsted inspection, and then developing the services going forward. And then I wanted to return to a county-based organisation, and took on a service manager role here, and then got promoted to head of service when the previous incumbent left, and then been developing the service ever since.
Great. And what was your first encounter with OBA? When did you learn about it?
I just need to move the table a bit so you're not rattling on the table, otherwise you have
Oh, okay, sure.
All right, sorry.
I mean, outcomes-based accountability has always been part of youth work. It's been part of our culture in terms of when we work with a young person, what we want to see is a change. We want to see the outcome of the work we do, and we have very clear goals in what that means. So we've always had a focus on, if we're not achieving it for young people, we're not achieving our role. Measuring it has always been our biggest problem and hurdle, is how do we prove without the young person coming back to us and saying 5 years later, you know, when you worked with me and you did that for me, that really helped. We had to have it in real time, so it's always been a major challenge to the measure, but we've always worked in outcome-based accountability. And then I think it was just having that approach as a culture. I went to a training course that actually galvanised that thinking into, well, actually you can put it into almost like a logic model. There's a series of logic that attends to this, and then that sort of galvanised it for me in my thinking of this actually is something we need to pursue, and something that really captures what we're trying to achieve, and a way of structuring the leadership, the operations, the systems, the processes into a sort of cohesive sort of path in terms of, if you're trying to achieve an outcome, this is how you can align your resources, etc. behind it, and know when you get there. So it's always been in their culture. It's been always been around in my working practice, and just galvanised over the years into a form. You know, how outcomes-based accountability is coming to the fore.
Great. And how did you use it in West Sussex, and what was the result of you using it?
The main focus, I mean, we've always used it as part of our culture, but the main focus was to do the transition of the service from a universal to a targeted-based service. So traditionally, our model was that of youth clubs. Our predominant work was delivered through youth clubs. We had over 125 clubs across the county. It was that sort of delivery model set up. The system was set up to support that model, and we did things like intensive support, youth offending, etc. as disparate parts, but effectively that was our core modelling. What we wanted to do over the last 4 years is change that to a purely targeted service. So we've withdrawn from down to about 18 youth clubs now and find it out centres, and we've enabled the youth work that we did do to continue in the community in a different way as part of that transition. So we haven't just pulled out and left it. We've enabled that to continue in the community, using outcome-based accountability to galvanise community leaders to take on board that type of work. But our main use of it was in the last restructure, where we turned the service completely from a universal base to a targeted and and sort of finish the journey, if you like. One of the things that we recognised, though, was that what we was doing was in incremental changes we'd made previous to that. We'd still had a lot of the old culture and the old systems. Using outcome-based accountability, we managed to completely redesign the service and detach ourselves from that history, which is a big cultural aspect for our service base. And it helped us get there in terms of refocusing away from what we had done to what we needed to do, and not being encumbered by the old systems and structures that supported one type of delivery model, where we were moving very clearly to a different type of delivery model. So our outcomes-based accountability came in at that point. We were under pressure in terms of relinquishing and making savings within the budget, but we managed to overachieve that by a significant amount, again calculating how much we could achieve using outcome-based accountability.